Hi, everybody. It's Leslie with the New Mexico Small Business Development Center. I'm excited today. We have a great webinar. Eric Spellman, public speaker extraordinaire, is going to be giving us a webinar on 5-minute marketing using online videos. We all want to do videos. We all want to learn how to do it, post it up there, get more interest in our business. So without further ado, Eric, take it away.
Happy to. I'd like to welcome everybody. I know that this can be a scary topic. I mean, some of you out there are like, I don't even know why I'm watching this. I could never get in front of a camera. I could never do what he's talking. Yes, you can. So sit right there because I'm about to show you how you can. This topic could possibly be the most profitable topic you learn about using digital for your business. So pay close attention. When we talk about 5-minute marketing, video is one of those things that was almost created to meet a need in society of people wanting their information quickly. They don't want to wait around for it. And so when video hit, a lot of people suddenly started transitioning over to video. You know, when websites first came out, it was all about the blog, all about the blog, all about the text, all about, just things like that. But then when YouTube came around and videos started showing up, people started transitioning over to that. I tell people all the time, video is way more popular than you think. I mean, Google is the #1 search engine on planet Earth. #2 is YouTube. I mean, of all the search engines, when people can't find it on Google, they're learning that they can find it on YouTube. So let's get going and talk. First, why video? And I'm going to be covering each one of these individually. We're going to be talking about Marketing 101, and I'm going to drill this into your head until you get it. We're going to be talking about the trust barrier and why it is so important for you to get your customers and potential customers over it. The connection factor, why people even want to forward your videos or why people even want to engage with you after watching your video. And then why people watch to begin with. What is their reasoning? Because if you understand that, you're well on your way. And then why we make them. So keep in mind the reason people watch videos are different than why we make them. Okay? It'll make more sense. I'm going to be covering each one of these in depth. As I always like to say, if you have any questions, please just ask away, and my wonderful host will get them to me. You could probably the easiest is just to ask them in the Q&A. So just click up there on Q&A and type your question, and I'll get notified, and I'm happy to answer it. Do not wait for me to say, are there any questions? Because I have so much to cover. But also realize I want those questions. So please
Definitely.
ask.
I will monitor those for you, Eric, and I forgot to remind everyone. So thank you.
No worries.
Definitely. Okay.
No worries. Okay. Marketing 101. I mean, so many times we are told by our friends, you know what, if you want to make money online, if you want to promote your business, all you got to do is do this, 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 download this app, click here, do that. No. Before you do anything, before you spend $1, before you trust any vendor, before you trust any advertiser, you need to understand the basics of marketing. I mean the basics that every business owner must know. I'm not asking you to go get a degree in it. I'm just saying if you know the basics, then you can more effectively measure whether what someone's trying to push on you from a marketing standpoint will help you or not. So the key to remember, and I've said this before, you may remember this, and it's that important. All decisions that every human on this planet makes can be tied to just two things. Two things. Every decision you make can be tied to two reasons, if you will. Greed and the avoidance of pain. Now, when I say greed, I don't want you to think of the negative side of that. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's bad. Greed, people are like, what do you mean? Greed is bad. No, what I'm trying to say is It's the shortest way to describe what I'm talking about. Everyone has a desire for something that they do not currently possess. Everyone. There's something you wish for. There's something you wish you had. And so maybe it's something you're working towards. But the point is, you have a need, a want, a desire for something that you do not currently have. The second is avoidance of pain. As humans, we don't like hurting. We don't like feeling pain. And so what we will do is do everything to avoid it. We will do everything we can to prevent feeling pain. So if we see a situation coming up and over time we learn that if we do something, it will be pain. Like, touching a hot stove. As a child, we quickly learn that you do not touch a hot stove. So we've built in little rules to help us avoid that kind of pain. Well, what I'm saying is every decision, and I mean every decision you and all of your prospects, all of your customers make can be tied to just one of these two things. Everything from, say, eating lunch. Eating lunch can go both ways. You may want that quesarito from Taco Bell. You've been thinking about it all day long. And so that's greed. But you may also not want to feel hunger pain. You don't want a stomach hurting. So technically, eating can fall into both of those. Buying a house. Typically, I can find reasons to show that people buy a house for both of those reasons. The greed side would be, we want an extra bathroom. The avoidance of pain would be, well, we want an extra room because people are having to, share rooms. So everything. So here's my question to you. I want you to think about your business, and I want you to think about your products. Now, remember, we've talked about this before, and I've said this. No one wants what you sell. They want the value that it brings. No one wants your product. They want the value. If they could get what they really wanted, they would avoid buying your stuff all day long. But your stuff helps them get the value they need, so they buy your product or service. So I want you to think of your product or service and say, you know what? What does our product or service do? What value does it bring? No one wants what you have. They want the value that it brings. No one wants a shovel. They want a hole. Okay. So think about your product. Think about your service. Exactly what value are you bringing as it relates to these two reasons people make decisions? The trust barrier is another very important concept here. When people go to a website for the very first time, and I teach this all the time, when someone lands on your website for the very first time, do you think they read every bit of text on that page? No. Did you know that when people land on your page for your homepage, say, for the very first time, you've got basically 5 seconds. They're going to scan it from top left to bottom right. And if they don't find a phrase, a picture, a title, something saying, you know what, this guy might have the answer to what we're doing, or he might solve my problem. If they don't think that in that initial 5-second scan, they're going to go to the next guy. People don't have a lot of time. But when they also go to your website and you make all these promises, they're not going to believe them either. So not only do you have someone who has a lack of attention and you got to grab it quickly, you've also got to realize no one trusts you if they don't know you. That's key. I'm not talking about your existing clients who you've had business with. Of course, they trust you. What I'm talking about is those new customers you want, those new people who have had no experience whatsoever with you. And those people need a reason to do business with you, a reason to trust you. So you need to understand that there's automatically a trust barrier that exists. When people first land there, they don't trust you. So we've got to lower that barrier. There's a lot of different ways to do that. And trust me, once you lower the barrier, OMG, you will see leads flying in. When people trust that you're going to do what you say you do from a business standpoint, then they'll open up. They'll open up They'll talk to you, but they'll also open up their wallets too. The connection factor. And I've told this to you too before. People connect with people, not businesses. Okay? People connect with people. And so I tell people all the time on your website, quit describing that when we do business with you, we're doing business with the company. No, I don't want to do business with your company. I want to do business with you. And the more you can personalize that experience and make it about people, the more successful you will be, because people don't trust businesses, but they trust people. When doing video, there's so many different ways that video helps with this. Because when you do a video, typically it's going to be you talking, and I will connect with you. So many times we'll have like the business owner doing a short video, and I will watch that video. And if I trust the business owner, guess what? I'm going to trust his company. Remember what I said. People don't automatically trust you, and you can't assume that they will. So by showing video, by showing you, the business owner, basically you're giving them something to trust, and you're starting to build that. But if all you do is have advertisements about your company and you never mention your people, or you never show them, or I never get to see them, hear from them even, then I might wonder. Realize that the reasons people watch video are different than the reasons we create video. Okay. Basically, people go online and go onto YouTube, especially because it is the largest video platform out there, to either solve a problem or answer a question. That's it. That's it. Solve a problem, answer a question. There's one other piece to this, and that is they might want to get entertained. Okay. But for the most part, most people go to YouTube because they have a problem they need a solution to, or they have a question that they just need the answer to. When you make a video, your reason is promotion. Your reason is branding. Your reason is credentialing. But no one's going to watch your video for those reasons. No one cares about that whatsoever, except for you. The reason I'm sharing this with you is people watch the videos because what? They want to be entertained or educated. But the reason you're creating this is because you want to get paid. You want to sell products. You want to sell service. But if you approach making your video from the I want to make money standpoint, then all you're doing is creating a TV commercial. And let me just tell you right now, don't you ever, ever upload one of your actual TV commercials to YouTube and think you're doing online video. No one goes to YouTube to watch TV commercials. Think about that for just a second. TV commercials are 100% advertising. No one goes to YouTube to watch 100% advertising. They want content. They want something they can either learn or laugh at, entertained or educated. You've got to be able to take what you do and serve it in a form they want to eat it. Does that make sense? I mean, you want the promotion, you want the branding, you want the credentialing, you want the lead generation. It's not what they want. Realize that the two are separate. And if you approach it from the standpoint of making it obvious why you're doing it, they're going to catch on to that so quick and turn you off. Okay, I've seen it. I've actually been out to the internet and gone to certain companies' websites, and I see a link that says videos, and I'm going, great. And I click on it, and all it is they uploaded their TV commercials that they were running in their local market or even their national market. And I'm here to tell you, those videos don't get watched. No one goes to YouTube to be advertised to. But that doesn't mean you can't advertise to them. Keep watching. Will It Blend is one of the best examples out there. And I mentioned this a while back on viral marketing, but I want to reiterate it because this has to do with video. Will It Blend is a series of videos, and I highly recommend you go to YouTube and do a search on those 3 words, Will It Blend. You will pull up a company called Blendco. And what they do is they make blenders, but they make very high-end blenders, like kitchen blenders. You know what I'm saying? Very high-end blenders. And you got to realize that restaurants and clubs who they sell to, um, they make a lot of money on their drinks. In fact, the highest profit item typically at a restaurant are the drinks. And among the drinks, the highest profit drinks are the ones with ice or even the slushy ones. Why? Because you don't have to put as much actual product that costs you money. You can replace that with ice, which is basically water, which costs you nothing. So companies would love to sell their little frozen margaritas all day long because they make so much money on them. But here's the problem. If you're going to make one of those, and I mean custom, that means actually putting ice in a blender and chopping it and turning it into a slush. But the problem is, if you just go buy a blender, a cheap blender somewhere, you can't just throw in a big iceberg into that thing and expect it to chop it up. It'll probably break. The blades may break, or more likely, they'll just jam. Well, the people at Blendco did not want that to happen. And they didn't want you to think that their blender was just like all these other $30 blenders that are out there. They didn't want you to think that their $500 blender was the same as a $30 blender, and that they had a competitive advantage, something that set them apart from their competitors. Know the phrase competitive advantage, in that their blades were tough, their engine was tough, and nothing stopped it. It'll cut through anything, and the blade won't break, and it won't jam. So the owner thought, how in the world could I show people that our blender is so much better in those regards? So he came up with the idea of a fake lab. He created a fake laboratory, really just a TV studio, and he put on a lab coat and became a fake scientist. And what he did was he turned on a camera and he said, "Will it blend?" And then he picked some random item and dropped it into one of his blenders. And when I say random, I mean random. I mean, we're talking tree branches. We're talking action figures, like toys. We're talking big lighters. We're talking iPhones. He puts into his blender and he blends them right up. And what he does is he drops it in as if it's a real experiment. And then he puts the lid on and hits a button and just sits there while you and I love watching something get totally destroyed. See, he knew something that a lot of people don't know about Psychology 101. People love watching stuff destroyed. Believe it or not, it's actually a human thing. People love watching. We love watching a building, get demolished. We love watching a sandcastle get knocked down, unless we're the ones that built it. We love watching, and sometimes it's very releasing to just go out there and take a baseball bat and just start knocking through. They're knocking through things. You see what I'm saying? We love watching things get destroyed. That's just a basic human trait. So what we do is we're watching. He puts an iPhone in there, and it is slowly getting turned into black dust. And when it's all done, he picks it up, flips it over on the table. You see the dust with the smoke, and he goes, "Yep, it blends." And that's the end of the video. He never says, go buy one of our blenders. He never even really gives the website. He doesn't. Point of the video, if you're just watching the video, believe it or not, is entertainment. From the viewer's standpoint, it is complete entertainment. It's like there's this guy who is a scientist and he's like blending random things. And you got to see this. I'm going to forward you the link to this video. This is hilarious. Watch him blend this, watch him blend that. And people started forwarding it around. All he did was put up a video on YouTube. And people forwarded it left and right. And if you'll remember when we talked about going viral, the reason they forwarded it, why? Was because they believed it would give them social currency. They believed And if you haven't watched that presentation, please go and watch it. My lovely hosts have made every one of the classes that I've done available for you to go and watch or rewatch. So when people feel like that if they send it to their friends that they're going to receive laughter or good job or applause, something like that, that's social currency. So here's the deal. I know if I were to send one of those will it blend videos, I will get a lot of LOLs back from my friend. That's why I send it, because they're paying me back in social currency. Anyway, he knew that too, whether he called it social currency or not. And when he made his videos, they went viral. They truly did. People were sharing them left and right. And he was selling so many of his blenders, it wasn't even funny. And here's the deal. He suddenly has a national platform, and he didn't before. And he didn't have to pay national advertising prices. In fact, he paid nothing except for the cost of a lab coat. I'm telling you, the reason he succeeded was because he understood the difference between why people watch videos and why he was making the video. He was making the video to demonstrate the competitive advantages that his product had. But people watched the video because of how funny it was. And you might be saying, well, why didn't he just advertise the product at that point? Because if he had put too much advertising into it, people wouldn't afford it at all, because no one likes to watch a commercial. But he designed an entertaining video in such a way that he was able to show his competitive advantage without having to be openly blatant about it. Okay. Like I said, if you have any questions, drop into that Q&A and ask them right away, because I'm more than happy to help. This
I-
can be, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have to ask a question. And what about the ads that pop up on YouTube?
Okay. What about them? Are you asking, should you use them for your business, or are they annoying? What are you asking?
I guess both.
Okay.
They are, and I know, but should you use them?
You mean, okay, pay YouTube? Yes, I do believe you do. I don't think you have to, but I do believe it's highly useful and highly beneficial. Let me explain how the ads on YouTube work. Basically, when you create your own video and you put it up there for free, everyone wonders, well, what's YouTube getting out of my free video? You're about to see, because when YouTube monetizes it, they're going to show ads. Now, these ads are not like TV commercials. They're usually fairly short and give the viewer the ability to skip them after 5 seconds or something. They put them in different places. If your video is really long, there might be one in the middle. And so usually they're at the beginning though. But here's the deal. You can benefit two ways from those ads, and I benefit from both of them. One is if you actually create an ad, take one of your videos and turn it into an ad, then guess what? Your video is going to start to show on a whole bunch more people's stuff than before. And it uses kind of a pay-per-click system, pay per click. Okay. Kind of paid advertising where, you only pay if someone watched enough of the video. And what do you pay? It could be like 5 cents or 10 cents, depending on how popular, whatever it is you're going after from a search standpoint. So that's one way. You can promote yourself very well and very easily using YouTube's ad system. The other way you can benefit, and this is how I also benefit, is once you get enough followers and get enough videos out there, YouTube starts cutting you in on the action. That's right. What most people don't even realize is I get a check from YouTube every month. I get a check. And it ain't enough to go out and buy a car or anything, but trust me, it's easy money. And what's happening is when my videos are being shown to everyone out there who's searching for them and they see an ad, if one of those people clicked on that ad, I got a nickel, I got a dime, I got $1. and that adds up. And if you have enough people watching your videos, you can actually make some serious money. That's how all these YouTube influencers are doing it. Okay. It's the ads. It's the ads. The ads, YouTube is paying them money because their videos are getting watched so much, which means a whole bunch of ads are being served, which means a whole bunch of those served ads are getting clicked on. Okay. So I like ads. And Leslie, that was a long way to get to the answer to your question. But just realize you can benefit from two ways, by both promoting your company and also making some money on the side. Okay, what are some of the considerations? Okay, and we're going to go into each one of these. First of all, when we're talking about video, oh, we have a question. Let's see.
Let's see what we got. Why some videos have much more ads than other? I think they're, we may allow, do you know the answer to that, or should we allow
Yeah. What happens is Google is always measuring things, and it's always trying to see what's too much or what's not enough. And so sometimes you'll see a bunch, and sometimes you'll see one or two. And a lot of it has to do with Google realizing how much you've been watching video that day. And they want to serve you X number of videos minimum per day. So a lot of times, if you haven't been watching videos and you suddenly start watching, you'll see a few extra videos than you normally would if you've been watching them for 6 hours. Does that make sense? If you've been watching videos for like 6 hours, then YouTube is not going to serve up as many video ads anymore because you've pretty much seen a lot of them already. Okay. So YouTube does do that. Also, some videos you can actually make it to where your video doesn't allow ads. I could actually turn ads off of my videos if I wanted. And in that case, you would never see an ad. A lot of nonprofits do that. So it kind of depends. There's no rhyme or reason to it other than they're trying to serve a certain number of ads per day to people who watch YouTube. Okay.
We have another question, kind of a statement or a question. Also good for email generations when they click on your ads.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because keep in mind your ad, what it's going to do is either take them to your YouTube channel, it's going to take them to a website, and when they get there on what we call the landing page from that ad, when they get to the landing page, which could be the homepage of your website, you need to have a good call to action. You need to grab them. Say the ad is bringing them to you, and then once you have them, what do you want? Well, if you want a lead, you want contact information. You want them to contact you with their name, their email, their phone. So that's when hopefully they will see, you know, and I've talked about it before, the Leadatron 3000, you know, the how to generate leads for your website. That's when you're going to land them on that page so that eventually you get the lead. And I have a lot of companies who have this whole system set up, and using video, they're just getting 5, 6, sometimes even 20 leads a week. And they're not having to lift a finger once they set the system up. But once again, you need to understand that. You need to understand that people will only click on something if they have a reason to click on something. And they don't want to be advertised to, but they do want to receive value. And the more value they think they'll receive, the more likely they are to click. Okay, so some of the considerations are, and we're going to go over each one of these. When you're making videos, do not edit them. I prefer straight videos that just do not stop. We're going to talk about lighting. We're going to talk about don't script it, don't hire people, and then a little section I called talk to me. Okay, here's another question. I see it. Does the channel owner pay YouTube to have more ads? If I understand your question right, you decide how much your ads are going to show by how much you're willing to pay a day. YouTube, you put in a daily budget with YouTube. So if you're doing ads, you have a daily budget with YouTube. You could say, YouTube, I don't want to spend more than $10 a day or $100 a day or $1,000 a day or $5 a day. And what happens is your ads will keep showing up on people's YouTube videos all over the web not just yours, to all over the web, until you run out of that day's money, and then all of them turn off until the next day. So yes, you can, the more money you're willing to spend, the more time your ads will show. I hope I answered that right. I hope I read that right for what you meant. Okay, let's, okay. Also, keep your videos short. Talk like you. We're going to talk about each one of these. And the little something I call forget your face and focus on the title. Here we go. Don't edit. The first one of all. This one throws people a little bit. And it's also what keeps a lot of people from doing video. Because what they'll do is they're worried they're going to make a mistake. They're worried, okay, they're like, okay, here we go. It's like, here, I'm going to film my video. Oh, I didn't mean to say that word. I didn't mean to say that word. Okay, let's start over. Take two. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't do that one as good as the last one. Take three. Blah, blah, blah. And pretty soon you're up to take 36. Okay. And that's because you don't realize something, and that is no one is perfect and no one speaks perfectly. No one gives a perfect speech ever. And if you're going to rely on 100% accuracy in your videos, you will never make another video in your life. You've got to realize that if you come off sounding perfect, you come off sounding like a robot. No one trusts that. You need to be authentic. And you got to realize mistakes are authentic. So when you watch a lot of my videos, you will discover I leave the mistakes in. I don't edit them out. Why? Because I come across more as someone they can talk to, not just a talking head robot. You know, I like to think of it this way. And Leslie, I'll even use you as an example. So Leslie, if we're just standing there talking in the hall, just having a good time talking about stuff, if I make a mistake, do I go, whoa, Leslie, let's start this entire conversation over? No, I laugh it off and keep going. That's what I'm saying. When you do a video, it needs to come across like you're having a conversation with somebody. They need to feel like they're sitting across the desk from you. They need to feel like it's a two-way thing. And if you get rid of every one of your mistakes, they can't do that. So they don't feel like they can even talk to you. I'm telling you, mistakes are authentic and perfection is not. No one wants a perfect video. No one, no one, no one. Because they can't connect to it. Perfection doesn't exist in this human world. Lighting. Lighting is also very important. And I tell people all the time, remember this. Shadows are evil, shadows are evil, shadows are evil. But do you have to go out and buy very expensive lighting kits? No. I tell people you need to use more lights than necessary, but you don't need to go out and buy special stage lights. I remember when I first started off in video, and if you watch a lot of my videos, I mean, you won't realize it, but that's what was going on. I went to Walmart and I got a whole bunch of desk lamps, took the shades off of them, and kind of set them around and just experimented until I had good lighting. The goal is to get rid of the shadows. The goal is that there be no shadows behind me, okay? And no shadows that are obvious running in front of me. No dark, no dark, no dark. Half my face is dark, where you have a window over here that's like really coloring brightness here, but all in shadow here. No, shadows are evil, shadows are evil, shadows are evil. So what you do is you keep adding these little cheap desk lamps with no shades in your room until all the shadows are gone. And you're going to think it's too bright. You're going to think it's too much. But when you do your video, you're going to say, wow, that looks professional. I'm telling you, you got to get rid of the shadows. And sometimes you got to move lights around until you see where the shadows are. And you're going to have to experiment. Like, where's that one light coming from? What? You see what I'm saying? Don't Script it. Let's have a little talk here. I remember one time I was helping this lady, the sweet lady, make her first video. I wasn't doing it for her, but I was giving her advice. And so I said, okay, let's meet again tomorrow and you give me some ideas. Oh, we have a question?
Let's see what we got. We have,
How do you get rid of the shadows? Okay,
yeah,
okay. If I wasn't clear, no, I'm glad you asked that.
okay.
How do we get rid of the shadows using lamps? Okay. Well, once again, I'm just saying be cheap. You can even go get those clippable lamps. So let's say you see a shadow. Let's say that under my neck is like really dark. Okay. Like maybe all the lights coming down from up here. And so I'm really dark under my neck, which is also a bad thing. Then what I would do is I would get one of those lamps, maybe put it on the floor where it's kind of coming up like this. You see what I'm saying? You keep adding lamps till the shadows are gone. Keep adding lamps till the shadows are gone. It's an addition game. Okay. And you're moving lamps around. Wherever there's a shadow, throw a lamp. I'm telling you, it makes the biggest difference in the world. And during this pandemic and everything, how many of us have been on Zoom calls where you could tell the person was sitting in front of their outside window was behind them, and it was bright, and their face was all dark, like they looked like they were in the witness protection program, and you couldn't even see who they were? That's a lighting issue. What those people should have done was A, not have such a bright window behind them, or B, have an actual light in front of them to compensate. Never sit in front of a window during a Zoom or a video, because the light coming in from that window, sunlight, will always destroy you. It will destroy you. I always like artificial light because you can control it. Okay. So I always say close your windows. And even though it's not very bright today. If I open my window right now, you'd see a sudden big surge of light on this side of my face. Okay. So I try to make a room, first of all, light proof. And then I start setting up lights. And some lights are on tables, some lights are on the floor, some lights are on tripods because I have some of those. But I'm positioning them in a way where I just don't see shadows. That's the key. And until you start playing with it and experimenting with it, you won't get it. But that's the thing. When I first started out, I would record myself and then watch it. And I would go, ew, I look like I'm in a cave. Or, ew, that's highlighting the crow's feet on my eyes. You know what I'm saying? And so I would go in and make adjustments to the lighting. Okay. So, I mean, there's all sorts of rules. Have the camera right in front of you if you can. Never had it sitting on the table looking up at you because it will make you look heavy. Camera shooting up like this is catching your neck and all of this, and it makes you look bigger than you are, and you're not. So make sure it's coming straight on at you. There's a lot of other tips with lighting, but mainly the basic tip I want to give you now is simply add more lighting until the shadows are gone.
We have another question.
Go for it.
What are your suggestions for lighting with outdoor or vlog style videos?
If you're working outdoor, then yeah, you're going to deal with the sunlight. Okay. You probably won't need to light if you do it during the day. Okay. But here's the deal. You're going to kind of need to face the sun, and you're not going to like that. Because if you face away from the sun, that's when your face goes a little dark. If you want to face away from the sun, then you're going to need extra lighting in front of you to compensate. Okay. But the best videos, believe it or not, are of you kind of walking into the sun where the sun's hitting you right in the face. You'll make the best videos that way if you can deal with it. Okay. Or coming from above and in a slant. Noontime sun, terrible, because it's going to create shadows under you. And so you may need to compensate with lights on the ground. It just depends. It really depends on what you're wanting to do. But realize if you're like have gardens and you're just trying to give people like a tour of your garden, there's going to be no way to light that. So people are understanding of that, and they realize that they're going to see shadows. What I'm talking about is if you're going to be inside in a studio, that's where you need to focus just on it not being dark and dank and it looks like you live in the bat cave. Okay. Great questions. Okay. Do not script it. And what I mean by that is don't you dare write it out. Don't you dare make a script for your video. And some of y'all are going, oh, Eric, but I don't know. Well, what am I going to say? How am I going to know what to say? I need a script. No, you don't. And you better not use one. Because here's what happens. Let's say I make a script. Then here's what the video ends up looking like. And action. Hey, I'm Eric. And today we are going to talk about the many features of the Leadatron 5000. Number one. Y'all see how cheesy that sounds? How artificial that sounds? I need y'all to watch what I'm doing right now. Do y'all think I memorized this? Do y'all think I memorized this speech? Do y'all think I could give this exact same presentation word for word again? Heck no. And that's because what I do and what you need to do with your videos is be so comfortable with the subject that you could talk with another person about it. Because that's really what I'm doing. In my mind, when I'm looking at the little lens on my laptop right now, going through Zoom here, when I'm looking at that little lens, you know what I'm picturing? I'm not picturing a room full of people. I'm picturing you, one person, you watching. I'm pretending that you're sitting across the desk from me, and I'm talking to you the exact same way that I would if you were sitting across the desk from me. So yes, this presentation, I use the points to keep me from getting off on rabbit trails, but everything I'm saying is already up here. And when it comes to what you do on video, it's going to be the same and it's going to come off sounding natural if you talk natural and don't memorize anything. Because here's the deal, when you write out a script, we write to impress. We don't write to inform. We don't write to educate. We don't write to entertain. We write to impress. And so we end up using bigger words than we normally would in a conversation. Remember, I'm speaking at a fifth grade level to you. Pretty much any fifth grader would understand the words that I'm using right now because I'm choosing words that you can immediately understand and don't have to think about. Remember back in our freshman high school days, we would have to write a paper and we would use big old words because we were what? Trying to get a better grade, trying to show the teacher that we were smart. So we use big words. We write at a higher reading level than we speak. And when you make a script, you screw it up and it comes across looking fake. So don't you ever make a script. Because when you forget, you'll look up. And when you forget, you'll want to edit. And when you get a word wrong, you'll want to edit. You want to go back and redo it. And by about take 35, you're going to say, I can't do video and I'm done. It's only because you gave yourself too high of a bar to get over. Come on, people. So I say outline it, people, outline it. Just make an outline of what you're doing and just stick with that. Don't look at it while you're presenting. Stick with it, okay? Okay, don't hire people because you think you're ugly. I know that sounded like I was trying to make a joke. I'm not. A lot of people say, when they say, well, who in our company should be the one in front of the camera? Do you know what I always say back? The owner. The owner. Because as a customer, the person I'm going to trust the most is the person with the most to lose. I will trust the owner over a salesman. I will trust the owner over a receptionist. I will trust the owner over anybody because that is the person whose passion created the product or service I might buy. I'm not a fan of people hiring spokesmen or supermodels, okay? And you got to realize there are reasons to do that sometimes. I'm not trying to diss it completely. It's a hard subject to talk about. You don't learn it in Marketing 101. You learn it in a later one because it's a little controversial. But we as humans are fairly shallow when it comes to visual. And because we're shallow, it has been discovered that we prefer to watch pretty people versus ugly people. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I'm just saying that's how we are. And that's why you see many times, on local and national news, really good looking people. Because of that little effort, people are more likely to keep watching if they're cute than if they're not. So there are reasons to do that. But what I'm saying is, from your standpoint as a business owner, you don't need that. The reason I'm saying that is because most people do not believe that someone who is a perfect supermodel works at your company. And so they don't see the connection between that person, and they aren't able to connect as well with that person and your products. But the business owner can. Remember, you are the star. You're saying, well, Eric, I'm not a movie star. I don't look like that. I'm not the prettiest. I'm not the prettiest flower in the patch. That's fine. No one's asking you to be. All we're asking you to be is you. This is in part of the presentation where I get some people going, I don't know, Eric. I don't know. And this is what I say. If I were to come in your store right now, your business, and I were to say, hey, tell me in 5 minutes what you do. Could you do that as a business owner without a script? Of course you could. You don't use a script day to day. You just talk to people. That's what I'm telling you to do here. And if you come across with authority, if you come across with the passion that made you the business owner today, passion and authority always trump looks. Remember that. Passion and authority always beat looks. Talk to me. Now, this is kind of a fun one I like to talk about. And I kind of halfway mentioned it earlier. When you are making a video, some people, what they'll do is they'll turn their phone around to where they can see the screen, and they can see them in there, and what they watch themselves speak. Don't do that. I'm not a fan of you watching your own self speak while you speak. It will distract you. What I'm saying is you stare at the lens. You look at that lens. There is a lens on that camera. You don't look at the screen on that camera. You look at the lens on that camera. And the reason is because when you look at the lens, you're looking right into the eyes of anyone watching the video. And if you talk about lowering that trust barrier, looking someone in the eye is one of the best ways to do it. So you look at that lens and you pretend you're talking to one person. Like I said earlier, a lot of people are saying, oh, Eric, I'm so scared. Make a video. No, I couldn't get up on a stage in front of millions of people worldwide. Well, first of all, that's awful confident that you believe that's how many people are going to watch your video as soon as it comes out. But two, that's not how it works. My videos have been watched 1.7 million times. I say that not to brag. I say that to make this point. It wasn't watched by 1.7 million people in one day. It was watched by one person at a time, multiple times. Your audience is one person. And when you realize that, making a video becomes easier, because if you can talk to one person about your company, you can talk to a lens. Because in the end, you're just talking to one person. And the camera lens is that person. I actually pretend that the camera lens is someone I actually know and someone I'm comfortable with. And it kind of fakes me out, but it comes across looking genuine. You see, what do I want to do? I want to come across as your friend. And most of you I've never met in my life. Okay. But the second you start watching my video, I want you to feel like we could be friends. You know what I'm saying? When you have that level of comfort going on, it goes a long way towards lowering that trust barrier. Keep it short. I tell people everyone on the internet has ADD and they're lazy. Everyone on the internet has ADD and they're lazy. Uh, the lazy part really has to do with YouTube. The ADD part means you better get their attention quick. They keep it short means they're not going to watch forever. The majority of time people are watching YouTube videos is when they're waiting on something. They're in line or they're sitting in the car waiting for school to get out and pick up their kids, or they're at home and just, during commercials watching videos or something. You see what I'm saying? I tell people, uh, keep your videos at about 5 minutes or less. But Eric, I have a presentation that takes an hour to give. Well, guess what? You now have 12 videos, a 12 video series. I'm not saying cut your content to 5 minutes. I'm saying if you truly have more than 5 minutes of content, make multiple videos. The reason is simple. When people see a video that is too long, they don't want to watch it because they don't think they have time to, or they don't want to commit time to watch it. 5 minutes seems to be the magic number for most people. The only way you can succeed with longer videos is if your content is so incredibly good that people will make time for it. Okay? But if you're not there yet, if you don't already have a following of a lot of people who already know you're doing 15-minute, hour-long videos, then you keep them at 5. There's a little statistic that y'all need to know. The most important statistic in YouTube is basically called the average watch time. And it you can look it up and it'll actually show you what is the average amount of time someone watches of your video before they leave. You're going, what do you mean leave? You mean people leave before they finish watching it? Yes, the majority of people will. Usually once they find the answer they're looking for, once you give that answer, they're done. Okay? So your average, watch it. And so, for instance, that's how I discovered the 5 minute thing, because I did a 10-minute video and my average was still hunkering around 4 and 5 minutes. I went to 5-minute videos and it stayed pretty much on 4 minutes. So that'll also tell you which of your videos are more popular. Videos that people watch longer are more popular than videos of people who stopped watching after 30 seconds. Talk like you. Don't imitate someone else, be yourself. I know a lot of people who, when you put a camera in their face, they suddenly change into like someone. I don't know. They think that they can't be a worthy of being watched without imitating someone who is. Don't imitate anybody. Be yourself. Be you. You have friends in this world because of you, not because of anyone you tried to imitate. Forget your face. Forget what you look like. Don't dress up. When you wear a suit, pretty much the only people wearing suits these days are bankers and morticians. Okay, don't dress up. Dress how you would at your business, and don't look all, too. Don't look all, You know what I'm saying? Let your hair down a little bit. Be fun. You know, change your face up a little. Show emotion. Relax. Focus on your titles, people. Real important. Use those power words. And we're going to be talking about power words in an upcoming session you watch. Power words make people watch. And so the title of your video, I spend 60% of my time coming up with the title of the video and 40% actually making the video. And that's because people will determine whether to watch your video based on the title. And when I say power words, the easiest way is to go to your local grocery store. And when you check out, look at those tabloids. Those people are paid to get people to pick up those things just by the titles. Those titles, while they may be funny to you, are amazingly well crafted. Use power words. Your titles will make people want to watch. And keep watching these series because I'm going to be giving you a talk on power words very soon. The YouTube factor, why YouTube? Because it really is the best way to go. It is the largest one out there. Do not upload your videos to your channel or to your website. That's what I make that crystal clear. Don't upload it to your website because your website can't handle it. Okay, and too many people try to watch it at the same time, it'll crash your website. So upload all your videos to YouTube and you can embed them on your website. And YouTube shows you how to do that. And you can earn features in YouTube as you grow. And it's kind of cool. And you ought to take a look at some of those features, including the ability to upload thumbnails. A thumbnail is that little like frozen picture that shows when you're trying to choose which video to watch. If in the beginning, YouTube takes 3 pictures during your video, and you can pick which one of the 3 thumbnails you want to use. Once you earn a few factors, you can upload your own thumbnail. And that's why you see some of them with words on them, like mine and other people's. They have the ability to upload their own thumbnails. And of course, watch your analytics. And what's the most important analytic? Average watch time. Second largest search engine, more traffic than your website. I told you that. To create a channel, it's totally free. That's the coolest thing about this. Give it a good description so it can be found. Earn those features. It's tied to views and quantity. So you can customize and monetize it. We talked about monetization with the ads earlier. Upload the thumbnails. I'll even give you the dimensions here, that if you get that ability, they are simply pictures, and that's how the resolution, 1280 by 720. Build them wisely to take use of the space and also how small they are on a phone so people can read the words you put on them. And like, for instance, here's one I've done just to show you an example of a thumbnail. Okay, notice there was a title, it has my picture, it has my logo, and it also has even a fake play button that I use in my newsletters. There's a whole bunch of tricks that I'm going to teach you in future videos that I do about video. Watch your analytics. Remember, you cannot manage what you cannot measure. So always check your analytics on how your videos are doing. You make it with your smartphone. You do not need fancy equipment. Today's smartphones are high resolution. Make sure you do it in HD. Hire it out, build a cheap studio. On your smartphone, if you're going to be filming, hold it sideways like this. Okay, always hold your phone like that. And you can always do open box videos. It's a great way to do it. An open box video is when you receive something new at your store. If you sell something like a retailer, and you film yourself opening it up. People are curious about stuff like that, believe it or not. Don't believe me? Do a search on open box videos on YouTube. Hire it out. You can hire out people doing videos for you and you'll get professional results, but it can be very expensive. I think you can do this yourself. And make sure if you do hire someone out that you own the video outright. Build a cheap studio. Find an empty office or closet. Soundproofing is key. Put up foam, put up anything that'll hang blankets, because you don't want reverberation. You don't want the sound like you're in a barrel. Okay, and all those things like carpet and blankets will absorb sound. I use the software real quick, and I know we're running out of time. I want to really quickly show you what I use. The software I use is Camtasia Studio by TechSmith. And remember, you'll be getting a copy of this whole presentation. I use Camtasia. It works great. It works with green screens, which I like. And then you can also go to sites like pixlr.com to do some free graphic design without having to buy Photoshop or something like that. That's how I create my thumbnails. My sound, always get a USB microphone, not an analog one, not one of those little ones that has like a headphone jack on it. You want the one that has a USB end on it. You'll get digital video, not analog or digital audio. I use the Comet mic, and it works quite well. Webcam, make sure it's HD, is what I use on my screen, and that's one way to do it. Kind of what you're seeing me now. Logitech has some really good ones that you can get. I got my green screen, which allows me to do a few extra things and put things behind me if I want, which I'm not doing here. That's an actual background. You can paint it bigger than you need, and you can go to Amazon to find a great green screen. Lighting, like I said, cheap desk lamps on a dimmer, remove all shadows. That is the goal. My closing thoughts, remember what the purpose is. Your purpose for making the video is different than people's purpose for watching it. And anyone can do this. You do not need to spend a lot of money to do it right. Have fun. That really is the key. Wow. Any questions over anything we've gone over?
We do not have any questions, but we have a comment from Catherine. Your content is so incredibly good. I make time to watch every webinar you do for SBDC.
Oh, thanks, Mom. But okay. No, thank you truly. I'm glad it is helpful. So much of what I'm teaching you, I learned the hard way myself, and I'm not rich. And so when I was needing to promote, I had to figure out ways to do it without money. And so you're seeing a lot of what I learned. So I'm glad it's been helpful. Any
Remind
questions?
everyone that you can go to nmsbdc.org and get the no cost confidential counseling. And we will have Eric back again to continue all the great information. And I'm trying to sit up. I feel like I'm sitting down a little bit. I hope my chin's up. So
Yeah, I'm taller than you.
you are. So thanks everybody for being with us today, and we will see you next time. Bye.